The morning fog wraps around the old oak trees like a ghost refusing to leave. Joggers pass, headphones in, ignoring the man who has sat on the same green-painted bench for the last 10 years. Same tattered trench coat. Same gray hat pulled low. Same old suitcase resting at his feet like a loyal dog. No one ever saw him open it. No one ever dared ask. Until today. A man in a dark suit, mid-40s, polished, slows down as he walks past. He turns, glances at the homeless man, and freezes. His briefcase hits the ground. "Wait, is that you?" the man says, voice trembling. The old man slowly lifts his head. Their eyes lock. Silence stretches. Then the suited man whispers, "You're supposed to be dead. I buried you." He lived on a park bench for 10 years, until one stranger asked him. One question. Nathaniel Reese was once a name spoken in boardrooms like a spell. A legendary architect whose designs weren't just buildings, they were poetry carved in steel and glass. He was the mastermind behind eco-skyscrapers before the term green living was trendy. He had it all: a Manhattan penthouse, a daughter who adored him, and a firm that bore his name. But genius comes with shadows. A rival firm had always envied him, specifically the CEO, Vincent Hale, who used to be Nathaniel's best friend. Together, they built an empire, until Vincent betrayed him. It started with whispers of financial irregularities, a few well-placed bribes, a forged signature. By the time the smoke cleared, Nathaniel was stripped of his license, his reputation in tatters. Even worse, he lost custody of his daughter, Clara. His ex-wife, manipulated and misled, believed the headlines. He disappeared from their lives. Nathaniel adjusts his suitcase, still unopened. Not a single soul has touched it since the day he packed it and walked out of the courthouse, humiliated and forgotten. Most think he's mad, but if you sat close enough, you'd hear him whisper blueprints in his sleep. Entire buildings live inside his mind, still waiting to be born. Then, one foggy morning, a voice pierces the silence. "Why do you look like my grandpa?" He blinks, turns. A little girl, maybe 10, with wild curls and 2 big glasses, sits beside him, swinging her legs. She's holding a crumpled piece of paper. "My mom says I shouldn't talk to strangers, but you don't feel like one." He chuckles dryly. "I'm stranger than I look, kid," she giggles. "That's what my grandpa used to say before he died." Nathaniel stares at her. Something in her face, the shape of her chin, her eyes. It's familiar, too familiar. "What's your name?" he asks. She grins. "Lumi?" His breath catches in his throat. That was the name he and Clara made up together when she was 4. Her imaginary daughter, Lumi Light. "Can I show you something?" she asks, pulling out the paper. It's a blueprint. Old, weathered. His signature is on the corner. Nathaniel stares at the blueprint in her small hands. His breath trembles. The lines, the flow, the way the structure balances on nature without crushing it. It was one of his proudest designs. The Solace Project, a dream sanctuary he drafted years ago but never submitted. It was meant to be a shelter for displaced families, his way of healing others after losing his own. Yet here it was, crumpled, folded carelessly, and found by a 10-year-old girl. "Where did you get this?" he asks, barely containing his shaking hands. Lumi shrugs. "In our attic. Mom has a whole box of them. She says they were drawn by a ghost." His heart skips. A ghost? Yeah, a man who used to be someone important. She doesn't like talking about it. Nathaniel's vision blurs. Clara. Could she really have kept them all? Even after everything? Lumi pulls out more papers from her tiny backpack. All of them were his original blueprints, unmistakably his. Each design was a memory. A moment in time. A silent letter to a daughter he couldn't hold anymore. "She says she hates him," Lumi whispers. "But I don't think she really does. Sometimes she cries when she looks at these. Real quiet when she thinks I'm sleeping. Nathaniel swallows hard. His voice comes out hoarse. What's your mom's name? Clara, Lumi says, tilting her head. But you already knew that, didn't you? He flinches. Lumi starts coming every day. Sometimes she brings him sandwiches wrapped in napkins covered in doodles. Other days she brings blueprints. But the most valuable thing she brings is conversation. She tells him about her dreams, her fears, her school projects. And for the first time in a decade, he listens like a father, not just to her, but to the silence inside himself. He starts sketching again. Each night after Lumi leaves, Nathaniel pulls a tattered notebook from his coat and draws. At first his hands are stiff, but by the third night they flow like water. He redesigns the Solace project. Bigger, bolder. For her, Lumi eventually grows curious. What's in the suitcase? She asks one afternoon. Nathaniel smiles. Memories. Can I see? He hesitates, then gently says, Not yet, one day, when it's time. But when she runs off to use the restroom, Nathaniel opens it quietly. Inside are dozens of letters, handwritten, addressed to Clara. Every birthday, every milestone. Never sent. Also inside, a faded teddy bear. One Clara left behind when she was 7, and beneath it all, an envelope marked, For Lumi, if she's real. Lumi sits on the bench beside Nathaniel, holding an umbrella over both of them. Mom found out, she says quietly. She followed me yesterday. Nathaniel stiffens. She got mad, really mad, said I wasn't allowed to come here again. His eyes drop to the soaked pavement. The weight of a decade crashes back onto his shoulders. Did she? Did she say anything else? He asks. Lumi nods slowly. She said you were a liar, that you left us. Nathaniel's voice breaks. I never left her. They made it look like I did. They took everything, Lumi. Even her. Clara storms into the attic with trembling hands. Her heart pounds as she throws open the dusty box she hasn't touched in years. Inside are the blueprints she couldn't bear to burn. The teddy bear her father won for her at a fair. Newspaper clippings. Scandal. Shame. Betrayal. But then she notices something tucked behind the box. A notebook she'd never seen. She opens it and freezes. Her name written in her father's handwriting. Page after page. Dated. Letters. Birthdays. First days of school. The day she got braces. Moments he could never attend, but still somehow knew. Her knees give out as she sits on the attic floor, tears blurring the ink. He never left. He was trying to stay, and the world ripped them apart. 3 days pass. The bench stays cold and empty. Nathaniel waits, suitcase clutched tighter than usual, then he hears her footsteps. Not Lumi's. Clara. She stands there, soaked by the drizzle, arms crossed. Her eyes carry 20 years of questions. Neither speaks for a long while. Then she says, barely above a whisper, Why didn't you fight harder? Nathaniel looks up, pain raw in his expression. I did, every day, but I fought the wrong people. I fought to clear my name, not to keep you. I thought if I could fix the system, it'd give you back to me. She sits beside him, slowly, cautiously. She doesn't say anything, but she doesn't move away either. That's enough. For now. Lumi appears the next day with a question that cracks everything wide open. Why does this blueprint have Vincent Hale's name on it now? She asks, showing him a file she found on her school's public design exhibit. Nathaniel's face drains of color. What? He grabs the document. It's his design, his details, even the flaw he left intentionally to test copycats. Vincent stole his work. Again. But this time, Lumi had found the proof. And this time, Nathaniel wasn't alone. The day after Lumi's discovery, Nathaniel, Clara, and Lumi sit side by side at a local library, pouring through Vincent Hale's architectural showcase portfolio online. Nathaniel scrolls through images of sleek, award-winning buildings, every single one stolen from his original work. He taps one angrily. This one. It was meant to be a shelter for single mothers. He turned it into a luxury resort. Clara leans in, fury in her voice. "We need to go public." Nathaniel shakes his head. "No one listens to a homeless man with a suitcase." But then, Lumi says softly, "They'll listen to me." Lumi creates a video on her mom's phone, just her voice. She tells the story of the man on the bench, the stolen dreams, the broken family, the suitcase of letters. She shows the original blueprints with her grandfather's signature. She ends it with a whisper. "My name is Lumi. I'm 10, and I found my grandpa under the lies. Please help me bring his truth back to life." They upload it anonymously. Within 48 hours, it explodes. Architects from around the world chime in. Former colleagues resurface. Even an old court clerk sends them a message. "I have something you might want to see." A file that was never supposed to disappear. The next week, Vincent Hale is ambushed by reporters outside his firm. "Mr. Hale, is it true that you falsified documents to erase Nathaniel Reese from the industry? Did you steal the Solace project? Is Lumi really his granddaughter? And how much of your success was built on his work?" Vincent tries to smile, then pauses. A limo door opens. Nathaniel steps out, clean-shaven, suit pressed, suitcase in hand. But now, he's not alone. Clara steps out behind him, arms crossed. Then Lumi, holding her hand. Vincent's smile collapses. A week later, a public hearing is held. Nathaniel is invited to speak. He walks up to the podium, places his suitcase down, and finally, opens it. One by one, he pulls out the blueprints, the letters, the photo of Clara as a child holding the teddy bear. Then he reads one of the letters aloud. "To my daughter Clara. If you're reading this, it means the world finally let us speak again. I hope you grew up strong, fierce, loving, and if I've failed in every other way, I hope I never failed to be your dad in my heart." The room is silent. Then someone begins to clap. Then another. Then the whole room rises. But the story isn't over. Not even close. Because that night, Nathaniel receives a message from a private number. "I know what really happened 10 years ago. Vincent wasn't working alone. Meet me at midnight, come alone, and bring the suitcase." And suddenly, the story twists again. The air is damp, metallic, the kind of place where echoes outlive voices. Nathaniel stands alone under a flickering bulb, the suitcase at his feet. He hasn't told Clara, not Lumi. This message was meant for him alone. But his mind spins with questions. Who else could have been involved? And why now, after 10 years, a train hasn't come through here in decades? But suddenly, a hum begins. A figure emerges from the shadows, tall, trench coat, voice calm and low. "You kept the suitcase?" "Good." Nathaniel squints. Recognition flickers. Harper? Harper Llewellyn, the firm's former legal advisor. Trusted, sharp. She disappeared shortly after Nathaniel's fall. "You were part of it?" She shakes her head. "I tried to stop it, but when Vincent saw you were digging into the permits, he had leverage. Blackmail, Nathaniel. Not just you. Your ex-wife. Your daughter's school records. He built a web of silence." Nathaniel steps back, rage simmering. "You let them erase me." She winces. "I tried to leak the truth, but someone else was pulling Vincent's strings. Someone bigger. He wasn't the brain. He was the puppet." Harper slides a folder from her coat, weathered, bound by string. Inside, a contract dated 2 weeks before Nathaniel's arrest. It's signed by Vincent Hale and Martin Shaw, CEO of Arcadia Global Development, a shadowy conglomerate that had quietly absorbed dozens of failed firms, including Nathaniel's after his fall. "Arcadia?" Nathaniel mutters. "They're in real estate and pharmaceuticals." "Exactly." Harper nods. "They didn't want your blueprints. They wanted your land rights, Your urban development licenses. You didn't know it, but some of your designs sat on future billion-dollar corridors. Nathaniel stumbles back. His firm wasn't destroyed because of one betrayal. It was targeted, engineered, ripped apart for profit. Harper hands him one last thing, a faded ID badge. It belonged to someone who worked for Arcadia's legal division. Nathaniel freezes. The name on the badge, Evelyn Reese, his ex-wife, Clara's mother. Nathaniel's breath shatters. His fingers tremble around the badge. No, she hated Vincent. She hated all of this. Harper sighs. She was forced, or maybe she believed she was protecting Clara. I don't know, but she signed over controlling shares of your company to Arcadia weeks before the media storm. Nathaniel collapses onto a bench, stunned. Did she really betray him, or was she another pawn? Clara can't sleep. She walks into the attic again, opens another box. This time she finds a sealed envelope, addressed in her mother's handwriting. To be opened if Nathaniel ever returns. She hesitates. Her hands shake as she tears it open. Inside is a letter and a flash drive. The letter says, I did what I had to do to protect Clara. I didn't know they'd go this far. If he ever comes back, tell him I never stopped loving him. Tell him I had no choice. Clara sinks to the floor, tears welling. There were secrets within secrets, and Lumi was born into a story she barely understood. Nathaniel closes the suitcase and looks at Harper. Why now? Because Lumi found you? And because Arcadia is building something again, something massive. They're naming it the Solace Tower. He blinks. They're stealing my sanctuary. Again. No, Harper says, stepping forward. They're not. This time we burn it all down.